Good morning, everybody. We're gonna do this morning. We're gonna do. Let me change this just a little. There you go. That way, that should be good. So I'm gonna do a couple, at least one, maybe a few of these incense burners. So I just finished building them. So this is what it looks like. So you can see the incense, and I think there's even a guide hole down in the bottom. But anyway, this is what it looks like. And you put of course, you know, everybody knows how an incense burner works. It's kind of hard to see the incense in there. But anyway, so that's what we're going to do this morning, at least one or two of these. And I've got this color that I'm going to start with for this one. And I'm going to paint it all this color. I'm not going to paint the skull or anything a different color. So this is the color I'm going to go with. So good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Hello, hi, all of those things. Send me likes or whatever it is you send on these things. And let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with this color, and this is called Jungle Gem, which means it has little pieces of stuff in it. And those pieces melt, and so that changes what the glaze looks like in the firing. So this is one of those glazes that really changes a lot when you fire it. And as it dries, I will show you what I'm talking about. It'll have little speckles of glass in it. And when the glass melts, then it gives the glaze little speckles of stuff in the glaze, which really looks cool. And so this is my second incense burner. I haven't sold any of these. I'm hoping to maybe take them to the market or something like that and sell a few of them. But this is my second one. I did one with a gnome. I haven't finished it. I haven't glazed it yet. And I did one with a dragon. Those are much harder to glaze because, you know, you have to paint the pieces, the dragon and what have you. But the skull should be pretty straightforward, so I thought I'd do that one live today. I haven't been live for a little while, so I think I've been live this year, though. Maybe. Have I? I don't know. I don't remember. If I haven't, so if this is my first time going live this year, then welcome, and I hope that you enjoy watching us glaze these pieces and, yeah, seeing how they come out in the end. So you can see, I think you can see, you see the little speckles in it? Those are what the glass that's going to melt. And I guess you can see those, but those are the glass that's going to melt. So it's going to kind of give it a unique look. And I'm going to paint the skull and everything this same color because I think that dark and the speckles on there will look really cool. Of course, you know, it's like a lot of things. It may not look cool at all, and there you go. I'll have a non-cool looking piece that nobody and their mother and daughter would want. So that's always a possibility. And we're going to get one good solid coat on here, and then we're going to do the sides and the underneath. The trouble with, I want to be sure these sides are good, and then we'll do the underneath. Now, with glaze, with almost all glazes, it's better if you have 3 coats of whatever you're glazing with. That way you be sure and get good coverage, and you get that good glossy finish that you want. And you don't want to miss any spots. I missed the back of the skull, so we don't want to miss any spots. The first 2 coats dry really fast, which is good. And then the third coat generally is a little slower in the drying. Now you can really see those little speckles are really building up on it. I guess you can see those. Anyway, hey everybody, thanks for joining this morning, and we're glazing this piece. And you know, the trouble with this piece is once you get it glazed inside, then the sides are really tricky to glaze, and so but we're going to go ahead and glaze them and try not to get as much glaze on my fingers. And so we're going to leave the bottom unglazed because it'll stick if I don't to the kiln. And so we're not going to blaze. I mean, there may be some glaze. I may get some glaze on the bottom, but I will wipe that glaze off. And so I think we're going to just do 3 sides of this right now because I can't hold it by any more sides than that. So we'll get 3 sides, and then when those sides dry, we will do the 4th side. So it looks crazy right now, doesn't it? Doesn't that look crazy? I mean, but the glaze will melt, and when it melts, it will make a difference. So I guess I can try to glaze this. Let's see how talented I am here. You can hear the glass rubbing against the bisque. It's really funny. It's kind of like glass rubbing against something, makes your teeth kind of cringe a little. Anyway. Okay, so now we've got it. We've got this piece all glazed. It's going to need to set for a little while. And I'm going to take it right over here where you can't see, not that I'm trying to hide anything. I'm going to put it right there. And I've got another one. I've actually got two more. So I've got this one with the gnome, and I've got this one with the dragon. And you can see, so this is the gnome. So you can see the little, and then the dragon goes right in his mouth. Kind of goes straight down, and it feels like there's some chunks in there, but anyway, it goes straight down, and so you can kind of see the dragon. So I think they're going to be pretty good. Hello everybody, welcome. I appreciate you. Looks like Jackie Johnson joined. Lots of people are joining. Vance joined. Linda joined. Hey guys, thanks, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you came to join me. Now let's go on with the glazing. I think. So the gnome, I feel like the gnome needs to be glazed in different colors. Maybe we even need to wipe back the gnome. I don't know. At least the beard. I think what we'll do is we will get. I have this really thin black. And I think what we're going to do is put this really thin black on there, and then I'm going to wipe it back. And that way the gnome's beard and stuff will look really cool. So this is just a super thin black, and it will bring out the lines. You can see the texture. There's not a lot of texture, but you can see the texture in the piece. And that texture, it'll help bring out that texture in the piece. And it will do amazing things for the beard on the gnome, and it'll create lines for the gnome, which is important. Makes it easier to glaze later when I get ready to glaze it. So we're going to do the whole gnome here, and just put this quick coat of black on here. Like I said, this is really thin, but it will bring out some of the textures. I'll tell you something else I'm going to do. I've got a little stamp on the bottom of this one. I'm going to put this black in the stamp. You can see how those bring out those stamps really nicely. So see, we're going to do that, and we're going to do both of these, I think. So there's my little stamp. You see how the black brings that out? And I don't always stamp my work. Most of the time I don't care whether people know I made it or not, but I thought these pieces would be really cool if I stamped them. So, and then let's go ahead, and we're going to do this one too, because it's got lots of texture. So you can see when I do this that it'll bring out that texture really good. And it'll also bring out all the pieces of the dragon really good. So you can see how it's bringing out the dragon. See, he looks like a whole different character with that little bit of black on him. Goes a long way. See how it brings out the... And all this is for those that glaze, and you haven't ever tried this, all this is a little black glaze and some water. And I watered it down so it's super watery. I mean, super, super watery. So you don't even get a lot of glaze, but you get some. And so see how it brings out the actual texture in the piece that I put in there. And so, and it makes whatever, now I will say it will make whatever color you use, depending on how much you wipe back this, it will make whatever color you use darker. And so you want to be sure that you're aware it's going to make the colors a little darker, which is fine. Like this gnome, I want his, I'm really after getting his beard to look really good. And so when I wipe that back, it'll look really good. So we're going to go over here. I'm going to turn my camera, and I'm going to try not to make everybody crazy here, but I'm going to turn my camera so that you see my little bucket there full of kind of dirty water, because that's what I use it for. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take my little sponge and I'm going to wipe down his beard and his body here. And you'll see that what this does is cause it to outline all the little lines and give them a little depth. And it's quick and it's easy, and it really can bring another level to when you're doing pottery, or when you're glazing, it can bring a whole nother level to the stuff you're glazing. And so I love to do it because I love the fact that it brings that other level in. So see, you can see that it kind of brings another level, and it makes for really. And I've even done some pieces like this and just left them, so you can see how it brought in the texture of the pieces. I've even done some pieces and left them like this and then clear glazed them so that they're shiny, and it does an amazing. It makes them look amazing, and so it gives them some depth and texture that you wouldn't get from just a clear, and it makes them look good. And so we're going to do the dragon the same way. Wipe off the high spots, give him some more white, and that will affect the next coat of glaze I put on. And we're going to wipe off the tray here. Like I said, it's really quick. It doesn't take but a minute, and then you can continue on with what you're doing with your pieces. So you can kind of see how it's given that some texture, and that texture will even carry through even after I glaze over the top of it. So we're going to turn the camera back around. Hold on, everybody, hold on. I don't want to make it too crazy. Yes, you get to see my awful dirty studio. And then you get to see me, hi, and then we're gonna turn all the way around here back to my glazing table. And there we go. So there we go. Now you can see the pieces. They've been wiped back. You can kind of see the texture that you couldn't see before, and you see the gnome and the dragon. We're gonna set the gnome over here. The dragon over here, and then let's think about the gnome here. I think my gnome probably needs, red. Let's go with red, red hat. I think that'll look good. We'll go with a red on the hat. I think we need a little bit bigger brush here. Okay. So this is where you have to kind of be careful. With the other one, I was just putting glaze on because the whole thing was going to be covered in the same glaze. But on this one, you have to follow your lines, and you have to get a little brush for some of it, and so you have to be a little more careful. It doesn't matter, I guess. It matters to me, and that's all that, it's my pottery, so I guess, And then the hair will come out kind of a gray with some black lines in it. So it looks really a lot like regular, like hair. I think it looks a lot like hair. So that's why I like to do the gnome, especially the gnome in a white back. The dragon, I don't even know what color I'm going to paint him. The hardest part to me about glazing is trying to decide what color you're going to paint stuff. So especially things that have multiple colors. Then you have to decide what color and what color is going to look good. And then, like this piece, not only do I have to figure out what color I'm going to paint him, but I have to figure out what color I'm going to paint the base so that the base and the top don't clash. Don't look bad together. I don't know about clash. I'm not a color coordinator. But anyway, there we go. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. We're glazing this piece this morning. This is going to be for those that are just joining, this is a incense burner. I know it's got a gnome on it, But I just thought it would be cool. Looks like the gnome is holding the incense, so I think that's kind of cool. And I don't know whether anybody else will think it's cool, which means, you know, the trouble is, if I think it's cool and nobody else in the world thinks it's cool, then that means I can't sell it or give it away because nobody will like it. But anyway, we will see what happens here. So we kind of got a good first coat on the hat. And it's going to turn a bright red. For those that don't know, glaze changes in the kiln, of course. So it's going to be this color when I finish. So it's kind of a bright red. This is a foundation glaze from Mako, which I kind of like using. Then I'm thinking maybe, we'll have to do another coat of that, but I'm thinking maybe, what do we think about for the pants? Do we think we ought to go, who has an opinion? Do we think the pants ought to be green? Do we think the pants ought to be, and we got a jacket too in there. We gotta glaze the jacket. Yeah, I can make the pants red, and then make the jacket a different color, maybe a green, or I can make the pants green. I don't want to make the jacket red because it kind of hits the hat here, and that just look odd. So. Green or gray, green or gray, green or gray. I don't know. Let's see. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the pants red. Yeah, that red is so bright. But I'm going to do the pants red. And let me get a little more glaze on the top of that lid so I can use it to hold the glaze. I'm going to do the pants red, I think, and then I'll decide on a color for the jacket. Maybe green, maybe very foresty colors. And of course the boots, I can go black or brown. I'll probably go brown with the boots and brown with his little, he has a little satchel. And so we'll go brown with the boots and brown with the satchel. Maybe that'll work. I'm committed to the red on the pants anyway, so we're committed to that part. Kind of hard to get down in this gap right here. Man, the wind is really blowing at my house this morning. I'm in Texas, and I think last night we had kind of a cold front come through. And so the wind is really carrying on out there. It's nice in the studio though. It's nice and warm in the studio. So it's not a problem. Okay, is that all the pants? Yep, that's all the pants. Not a lot of pants on this guy. He's sitting down, so not a lot of pants on him. It's funny. Well, I think it's funny. What about you? So while we got it here, and since the hat's dry, I think we'll go ahead and put another coat on the hat while I'm here. So I got the red open anyway. Hope you're enjoying this. I have my little screen up here that I can see you. So hello everybody, thanks for joining. Looks like Anthony joined. It's just David joined. Nick joined. Kristen joined. So thanks everybody for joining. I have some friends in the UK that really like to watch me do live stuff, and a young man over there, and I know he's probably not on this morning. I mean, it's really early in the UK, but he really likes to see me when I go live, and my daughter told me about him. She's got friends with the person, and she said, oh, he catches you every time you go live. And so I think that's really sweet. He's 13 or 14 years old, and he likes to watch me glaze stuff, and so I think that's really cool. And I hope you learned something. I mean, you know, maybe you're thinking about getting into pottery, so My glazes and my pieces are what's called low fire. I fire everything to cone 04, which is a low fire clay. Mostly because most of my stuff is not functional. It's not like you don't eat out of it, and so I don't have to worry about that. And in this piece, you can't get this piece hot enough with incense. You can't hurt it because I'm gonna fire the piece to over almost 2,000 degrees. So you're not gonna hurt it burning incense, and so it fires faster. So low fire is faster. You don't get as much movement in the glaze. So the glaze, when it melts, it doesn't move around on the piece. So you see these pieces that look like one color just kind of ran into the other color. That's because they're firing these at higher temperatures and they're using a different kind of clay. And that causes the glaze to run, which looks really cool. And if you're making a functional piece, then it's really good to do that, and it looks really cool when the glaze runs. But these are not really functional, and I want the glaze primarily to stay where I put it. I don't want the color red on the hat to run down on the beard and the hair and stuff. So I want the glaze to be very stable where I put it. And so low fire is better for me. Plus my kiln, it's easier on my little kiln to fire in low fire, and so that's why I do it. And it takes less time to fire it, and it takes less energy to fire it, less electricity. Which, when you're running a kiln, electricity is a big thing because electricity can be a lot. And I have a little baby kiln. In fact, my kiln is full of stuff right now. It's full of pieces that are waiting to be fired. I have 2 dragons. And what else do I have in there? Oh, a lighthouse. I have 2 dragons and a lighthouse in my kiln right now. And I don't even fire the kiln until after 8 o'clock at night because electricity is cheaper at 8 o'clock. And so I wait till 8 o'clock to fire it. And that way I don't have to pay so much for my electricity. And that's when less people are using electricity. So that's better. So if I paint the gnome, if I paint his jacket green, then what color will I paint the base? And if I paint his jacket like a blue, what color will I paint the base? So it's kind of like a dilemma. What color are we going to paint the base, and to make it look good? So anyway, I don't know. I need some advice, folks. What do y'all think? What color which one are we gonna paint here? Shout out if you have a color that you think, shout out. And I think I've got a kind of cool blue. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I've got kind of a cool blue. So this is the blue. I spilled some stuff on it, but you can see this is the blue right here. And it kind of breaks light, so it's dark and it breaks light. I think I'm going to go with that. And then I'm going to use this color green, or maybe a turquoise. I have a turquoise too, that I'll put in the bowl itself. So I think maybe we're going to go that route. Okay, now we're committed. So, the first layer is going on, so we're committed. The trouble with this glaze is it's so close to this color of the disc that I'm painting. It's almost the same color, so it's kind of hard to see it. Some people think that glazing is tedious, and I guess if you were glazing like a bunch of coffee cups and you were doing them all the same, I could see where it would be, maybe that would be tedious. For me, I enjoy the kind of the calm that I have when glazing. I play some music that I like, that's good for this. Sometimes I listen to an audiobook. I have an audiobook I really like listening to, so sometimes I listen to an audiobook, and somebody said, well, how do you concentrate on the audiobook and glaze? Well, for me, glazing doesn't take a lot of my concentration, and so it's not difficult. Some people, you know, they have to focus on the one thing, but for me, I can kind of glaze and listen to my book, and it's kind of a good book. It's called He Who Fights with Monsters, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's a fantasy. I listen to a lot of fantasy, and it's fantasy, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I have really enjoyed it. My daughter and her husband recommended it and said I'd really like it, and it's kind of like a book that's based on how D&D would work if it was real if you had an interface. And anyway, I think it's cool, and I've been enjoying it, and so I've been listening to that. I'm about 4 books in. I'm on the 4th book, and so I've been enjoying it. This jacket's going to be a little tricky to glaze down in this hole. We're going to get there. And he's got a belt on. I don't want to glaze his belt. I want to be sure I don't get his belt glazed. I think I'm going to do that in brown. So, like I said, he's got a little bag too. I'm going to do the belt and the bag in brown. And he's got a strap. He's got a little strap on. And I want to do the strap in brown too. So it's going to be tricky because it's really little fine work here. He's got his hand back here and his back behind him. Like I said, it's hard to see where you've glazed and where you haven't, because the glaze color is not too far from the color of the piece without glaze, so it's going to be tricky to see what I missed, because, you know, it's all the same color. So anyway, we'll get it. You can tell by looking at it that it's to be so blue, because this glaze is going to be really blue when it fires. To be so blue and to look so not blue. I know. I'm carrying on now. Belt's supposed to be a little bit. Fortunately, the brown is a more powerful color, so it will compensate for that a little. So we're getting there. You can kind of see where I've painted, kind of. I don't know, kind of. I guess we'll go over and start doing another coat here, because we've got to have 2 of them, at least 2. Sometimes you can get by with 2 if you don't mind the color coming out a little light, and I'm going to dip this in clear glaze, so I know I'm going to get the gloss finish either way. That's the thing, you kind of just want to be sure you got good, solid coverage everywhere and that you didn't miss anything. Because if you miss it and then you fire it, it will not look good. It will not look good. That's the best thing I can say there is it will not look good if you fire it and you didn't glaze part of it, or you missed part of it and you didn't notice you missed it. And so it's important that you get it all glazed. And it makes it harder when your glaze is the same color as the body of your piece, and so part of the wiping back the black, though, kind of helps with that. It helps because in those little cracks and crevices, it turns them so dark when they fire that it's hard to see that you missed a piece. So it's kind of helps make it forgiving. And when you're doing bricks or something like that, some texture that really needs to stand out, it is just a great method for getting that texture you need. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it for folks that, especially if you're doing little pieces like this. We just about got it here. I mean, this color. Okay, so that gets our blue. I think we do the black next for the boots and the belt. I mean the brown. I think I'm going to do black. 2 reasons I'm going to do black. Y'all are going to love this logic. 1, I'm going to do black because it's sitting here and I don't have to get up and get the black. 2, I'm going to do black because I know black will look good. And so now you know why I know black looks really good on the boots. And we don't want him to not be coordinated. You know, we don't want him to have black boots and a brown satchel. Oh my Lord. What would we do? What would we do? Sure my red and my black are close enough together here that you don't have any white strips. There's one boot. And this boot it's kind of tricky. Okay, the boots are painted. Now we need to get the bag and the belt. Well, I don't know whether y'all can hear that wind, but it's really blowing out there. So welcome everybody. I'm glad you joined. We're glazing a piece right now. This is a incense burner that I'm glazing, and it's a gnome that's going to hold a piece of incense so that you can burn it, and then it's got a little tray to catch the ash. And so I've never made an incense burner before, so this is the second one I think I've made. The other one just came out of the kiln this morning, and I haven't tried it, but it looks like it's going to work pretty good. It's my intention to sell these at a market or even on Facebook Marketplace. I do a lot of selling on Facebook Marketplace, so it's my intention to do that. Painting the belt in right now, and I'm going to paint the strap that goes up his back. Paint his belt on his front. Yep. So there's what we've got so far. Now, of course, we can't leave his face the way it is. That sounds terrible. But think what we're going to do is give him a little, this is a really light crystal coral is what it's called, but really it's a really, really light pink. And I think we're going to do this for his hands and his face. It comes out really nice. It's kind of a skin tone color, but it's pinkish. So what we're going to do is going to go in here, and we're not going to put but one coat. And the reason we're doing that is because if I put one coat, it's going to make it less pink even. So it's already a light pink. And then this one coat will even make it less pink than the color it would be. So it ends up being a really nice skin tone color. At least I have in the past done this and I have liked it. So we may hit the tip of his nose with a little more than one coat, and maybe his lips with a little more. And then we'll do his hands the same way, so they all match. You won't hardly be able to see this, but in the end, like a lot of things, you don't really see how it worked until you get to the end product. And so a little extra on his nose and his mouth. Right up here against the beard. It's only got one hand, the other hand is behind his back, so you can't see it. Okay, that's the gnome. He's finished. Yay. And so let's see here. Now we need to paint the inside of that, and I think we're going to use this brush right here, and I think turquoise. I said I was going to go with that green, but I think I got a nice turquoise here, and I think this turquoise will look really good with the blue jacket he's got. Let me shake it up good. I haven't used it in a while, so. Okay. This is a really dark gray color going on. It's not that color when it fires, but we've talked about that, so I guess I don't have to rehash the fact that these colors aren't the same. When I pick this up, I really want to get that right up in there. I just have to get on his boots, I guess, a little. Glaze is getting a little thick. So I have this stuff right here. It's called Mixmaster Glaze Liquid. And I used to use water, and water works good, don't get me wrong. But I used to just use water, and then I would, and it would work. It works fine, but this works better. It seems like to me the consistency's better, and it doesn't evaporate like water, and so I recommend it's not that expensive, and you can add it to your glazes, and that makes your glazes thinner if you need a thinner glaze. For some things, a thinner glaze is just better, and so anyway. So I'm going to do this. Oh yeah, that's much better. Now I can get in those areas a little better. I'll get a littler brush too to get some of that. That's going on much better. That'll make it easier to get down in the cracks. And there we go. Have to get some more of that, I guess. I'm just about out. Different brush here. This one will put more glaze on quicker. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Getting the green or turquoise on here. This one, I'll end up with some on the bottom and I'll wipe it back. Just like I did the earlier, I'll wipe this back and then I will be able to, that way it won't stick to the kiln shelf, and which is important because that's a mess and we don't need a mess. I have time, nobody got time for that. Nobody got time for a mess, so we're gonna I think this is going to look good when it finishes. Just stuck my finger in the glaze, I felt it. Yep. Okay, now the only piece I have left is, oops, drop my rag, man, I hate that. It's right over here. Let's get this a little more. Okay, there we go. I think we're done with that one. Good job, everybody. Thanks for participating in this. We've got one more. I don't know. Do you guys want to stay tuned for one more, or or you had enough. I don't think anybody, I'm not sure anybody has stayed for the whole thing. I don't know whether anybody stayed for the whole thing, but if you did, good job. And if you have any questions about glazing, please feel free to send me a message and I will try my best to answer it. I'm not always an expert, but I will try my best to answer any questions you have. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let's go back to where we started. So this is where we started this morning, on this piece right there. And it is the piece that we started doing with the, that's going to have the, so you can see, you see all the pieces in there, the little chunks of glass that are in there. Those are those are gonna actually do a really good job when they melt. And so that's gonna look really good. I think we have enough coats on there. I'll tell you what I do want to do though, because I have a logo on the bottom of this one, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this black right here and we're gonna paint the logo in. And then we'll wipe it back when we get done. Since I got to wipe the bottom off anyway, might as well get my logo painted in. Perfect. We'll do this one. Now when we wipe that back, that will look good. So we have 2 of these done. Good job, folks, helping me out today and getting 2 of these incense burners done. Thanks for everybody being part of this and joining in. I had a great time today, and I hope you had a great time. And we'll try to get some more stuff done. Maybe we'll do another live event. Remember, all of the stuff that I have, I'm going to get rid of one way or the other. So if you like it, let me know. If you like what you've seen or if you like what we've glazed, let me know. And we will be doing, I will show you, let's see, I'll pull out the other incense burner. So this is the other one I did. So you can see this is what it looked like, and the incense goes right in the mouth. So that's what it looked like when it was finished, which I thought came out pretty good. I wish I'd have done maybe a little different here for this pink, but I thought the red and black dragon looked good, and yeah, texturally that'll make a good little incense burner, and I'll get that to the market and see how it does. But anyway, thanks for joining me, folks. I'm glad you were part of this today, and I hope you enjoyed watching me glaze that piece. Thanks, everybody. Now the hard part, how do you stop going live? That's always the interesting one. Thanks, everybody.